What's up? Yes, I am still alive.
Unfortunately, I'm still alive.
But it's good to see you. I'm back with the news left. This is your host, Miguel. Allegedly. And did you miss me? Did you miss the show? Did you even notice that I was gone? Would you notice if I died? Don't answer that, comrades. I missed you, I will say. And at the very least, I really miss Olympia, Washington. And we're going to be talking about that over the next few episodes for a very particular reason. There's been some news, some developments, some news left, some left news, if you will. Whatever. There's been some news. And I, unfortunately, have not been on social media, nor in Olympia to really report on it. And there's a particular reason, which I would like to talk about. But first, I'd like to say, for those of you wondering how I am, in case you were interested, because I have feelings too, even as your news guy. No, for those of you interested, I'm doing okay. I'm doing quite well, actually. I've moved for reasons we'll get into, but I've moved and I'm in a safe place now. And really, I'm happy. You know, I've taken the last month and a half to really just like ask myself, who is Miguel, and what type of food does he enjoy, and do they like to drink? And I do like to drink, which has been a lot of my last month and a half, to be honest with you. I'm a little hungover now, to be honest with you. I don't need. Okay. Anyway, comrades, I'm just glad to be back, and let's just break into the news. Let's do it. Let's just fucking do it. Let's fucking go. I miss Olympia. Not really. I miss my friends in Olympia, but specifically with the news, things have gotten really bad. So for those of you that don't know why I left, I have been enduring stalking and harassment from the Proud Boys, including like direct threats against my life, ever since Tiny got his shot. Now, for those of you that remember, September 4th, 2021, Tiny Tosa, the leader of the Pacific Northwest Proud Boys, called for numbers, and all the Proud Boys came up to Olympia, Washington, in order to literally hunt Antifa in the streets of Olympia. And we'll just let Tiny tell you what he was doing in his own words.
Guarantee you Miguel's there. I'm on some shoes. I'm taking his shoes.
Hey, somebody got my other glasses?
Yeah, right here.
And now you're like, hey, that seems a little sus. Like, maybe he shouldn't be calling for taking people's teeth. Specifically your teeth, Miguel. Which I'd say thank you. He probably shouldn't. And this kind of relates to the greater issue where I think it's hilarious. Because Pacific Northwest right-wingers try to talk about Tiny, and they're like, well, he's a person of color. How can he be a fascist? How can he be a racist? Well, maybe don't call for holocausts, Tiny, because that's the whole thing, is not only does he make this comment that's like obviously what the Germans did to the Jews, stealing their teeth and their shoes, you know what I mean? He's also made multiple comments that I don't even really need to get into because they've already been shared so much of him calling for a holocaust, a new holocaust, against both Jews and LGBTQ people. So, fuck you, Tiny. I hope you rot in fucking jail. I love that, too, because I want to show you this other little clip that happened in the meantime of me being gone.
They're going to try to just railroad you. They're going to try to do you worse than Sweeney. But that's just because it's the prosecutors. They are trying...
How long did Sweeney get?
10 years.
He got 10?
That's right. That is Common Sense Conservative, a.k.a. Robert Zerfing, a.k.a. a sack of shit, who is calling Tiny all the time in jail to try to be his friend, even though he's facing, like, really bad charges. And it's so funny because just look at his face. Like, Sweeney got 10? Oh, no. Maybe you shouldn't have fucked around or found out. Right? So, I'm going on, and I don't even really need to get into Tiny Tosa. People know he's in jail. People know why. And people know he deserves to rot like the sack of shit he is. that's not why I'm getting into Tiny. The reason I'm getting into Tiny is because that has been a large part of my life over the last 6 months. Ever since September, I've been getting threats. I've gotten people following me around town, threatening me, blase, blase, blah. And eventually, they showed up at my house. Yeah, I'll just show you the flyers. So, those flyers I just shared were left at my work. Then the next day, somebody came through the driveway in a white truck and threw fireworks at everybody outside. And then the next day, it was left at my house. I got a message from my roommate telling me that, hey, these were left on our windows and on my garage door because I lived in a separate garage. For those of you wondering how I am, I'm okay, you know. Basically, after that happened, I was just like, I had been enduring this direct threats of violence from the Proud Boys ever since Tiny's shooting, and I figured it was time to leave. Right? I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just don't want to die in a firefight outside of my house. At this point, your host intended to give you a tasteful cover art from Weezer, Only in Dreams. Do you get the joke? It's not that funny, so instead, please enjoy this tasteful art of a Patriot front banner burning out of Olympia, Washington. Only in really vivid dreams that I wish weren't dreams. But as a part of that, I decided the best thing to do would be to just leave, to move on. And partially, it's because my journalism goes beyond Olympia. Obviously, it's around the Pacific Northwest, and I can continue my reporting from here. But either way, there's just a lot more life in the city that I'm in. Either way, the reason I'm going into this, and the reason that I'm bringing up these goons, is because, for those of you that missed it while I was gone, the Capital City Proud Boys held a little get-together, a little get-to-know-your-local Proud Boy and fan. That's right, that was the messaging. It was very much an attempt to normalize them, to make people, to recruit people, and to make them think that they are somehow a worthy group. There's a lot of reasons it's concerning. Number one of which is the Proud Boys shouldn't be allowed to hold public events in Olympia to recruit people, to network, and face no opposition from local people. Because I'll tell you that nobody in Olympia likes them. Like, sure, there's some right-wingers who will obviously suck their dick no matter what, but specifically, downtown business owners, even the city council, they don't want the Proud Boys showing up. So they held this event up at the Capitol. And not only is it concerning for that fact, but number two, there is a separate group that we will get into called We the People Against Communism. I did that. Fine. WTPAC. Yes, WTPAC. The WTPAC is what they call themselves. And they are very much a group founded by a few key figures who basically, I'll just show you one of these people. She just fucking ate it, you little threeper fuck. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck? What the fuck? You were fucking psychotic. What the fuck? What the fuck? They just picked that up off the ground, ate it like a fucking maniac. Oh my god, you think that's what it is? Are you using math, woman? Jesus. That was one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever seen. You guys just are fools. Jesus. Yeah, that was probably the weirdest, most disgusting thing. Like, wow, flashing the white power symbol. So that was Hash Brown Karen. Her real name, Angela D'Amberry. Angela lives in Lacey. Angela really likes to attend all Proud Boy rallies. If anybody remembers that riot that the Proud Boys held up in Northeast on August 22nd, 2021, she was there. She was there, like, trailing behind them. It's weird. But basically, she then went on with a few other people to found this group called We the People Against Communism, WTPAC. Now, WTPAC has pretty much been using their platform to get people to join the Proud Boys. How do they do this? Well, I'll tell you again. They pretty much have the Proud Boys as security at every single rally and try to tell people like, oh, thank them. That's our security. And in case you're interested in joining them. So basically, it's a recruitment tool for a fascist hate group. And you may be like, well, like, what does that matter? Well, number one, that's concerning. That's pretty much what we've told you. We left-wingers specifically say we don't give a shit about the vaccine mandate. We don't give a shit about the mask mandate, TBH. Like, anymore, you know what I mean? Because it did the trick. I'm not going to get into COVID bullshit. Either way, I don't give a shit about that. I don't like the fact that Nazis and Proud Boys are pretty much using these anti-vaxxer demonstrations, Antifa, if you will, in order to recruit people to join their group. Like, that seems wrong. But either way, March 19th, 2022, they held a very open event in Olympia, Washington that was a recruitment tool to try to get people to get to know your local Proud Boy. And there's been some news around this, like the best news, and some bad news for the fact that they were pretty much able to hold their event unopposed. I think the funniest thing that I saw was that during the trucker convoy protest, like a week and a half before up at the Capitol, there was some like random Olympian who showed up with a sign that said specifically Nickelback fan club to like make fun of the fash, to be like, oh, you guys are the Nickelback fan club? And it's a dumb joke. Like, it's a funny joke. It's a silly joke. But holy shit, the way that the Proud Boys, who were providing security for this demonstration, immediately responded was hilarious. They were all scrambling, being like,
Oh, that's Antifa. That's Antifa. Let's go chase after him. He's behind the car, guys.
So, yeah, you can see what kind of bullshit they're on and why them providing security is them just using it as an excuse to, like, go after people and to target their political enemies.
Don't be distracted. Her speech is at 3. She wants us there at 3.
Okay. Now, for some good news. There is some good news out of this. We got to talk about Jonathon Choe. For those of you that don't know who he is, Jonathon Choe is a reporter based out of Seattle, Washington. And he pretty much spends his time doing what I have a lot of criticism for journalists in the Pacific Northwest doing, where they will pretty much just go to a homeless encampment and chase around people that are facing homelessness and try to, like, dehumanize them, to try to make them look like drug users, like they're all out of their mind, or criminals, or blah, blah, blah. And this is his whole shtick. Nobody likes him, except, like, a bunch of right-wingers. But he was working for Como News, and Como News is a local news channel out of Seattle. It is the Sinclair Broadcasting Group owned, which was part of the reason that I thought he was going to be there forever. But Jonathon Choe attended this Capital City Proud Boy rally, an attempt by the Proud Boys, and specifically the Capital City chapter, to try to make themselves look like they're like human beings. He showed up, and we'll just say it isn't pretty.
So here's my history.
My Father's Day.
So that clip seems odd. And you're like, why'd you post that? That seems like propaganda. To which I'd say that's the whole point. It's propaganda. And you know who posted this? Jonathon Choe. So Jonathon Choe went down to this rally on March 19th. On a Saturday, a beautiful Saturday in Olympia, Washington. And he goes down and he tags Como News on his Twitter to say he is reporting for them. Now, according to Como News, pretty quickly afterwards, they did not authorize that. They didn't ask him to go cover a Capital City Proud Boy event. And the way that he framed this is just like really, really weird. I mean, not only does that video kind of speak to what he was doing and like obviously working on their behalf, but he also encouraged like his viewers and Como News viewers to ask questions like, what do you want to know from the Proud Boys? So here's the funniest thing. Number one, Jonathon Choe showed up and was initially chased out by the Proud Boys. They didn't like him. They were like, "Oh, you're mainstream news," to which he is, and he pretends he's like, "I don't give a shit about this guy." Either way, they're all like, "We don't like you. Get out." Also, probably because he was Asian. I'm sure that was part of it. But they kicked him out, and then they let him just march alongside, and he started taking photos. And according to Como News, not only did they not ask him to cover this rally, they also didn't help him make that video. He made that on his own. And you're like, what's that song, Miguel? That song is by a group called Mannerbund, or Bund. But it's a neo-Nazi group, is the whole thing. Like, not even just that they're like, some of them are Nazis. Oh, no, I mean, like, the group is explicitly pro-white nationalism. Like, they make music around being fascists and how that's cool. And that is hilarious. Like, here's the thing. When that video was posted, some local anti-fash researchers were like, hey, we found this. The only way we were able to run into this, besides just knowing the name of the song, obviously, but the only way we saw it in the last couple months was due to seeing it in the Seattle Proud Boy chat, their Telegram, the Seattle Proud Boy Telegram, which means that you know what that means. You know what that means. That means Jonathon Choe is on their Telegram, saw that song, and was like, I like this song. This seems like something I should make a montage to Proud Boys do. Oh my God. The song is We Will Have Our Home Again, Mannerboon. Fuck those guys. But anyway, he posts this, and pretty much over the next couple days, he gets called out by multiple news publications, gets calls in from everybody to Como News, and they fired his ass. So, suck it, Jonathon Choe. You lost your job. Go back to the grift. Which is the point. Jonathon Choe wants to be Andy Ngo so bad. Obviously just making stuff up in order to grift about the fact that he is being targeted by the left. Shut the fuck up, Jonathon. Because here's the thing. I just want to go ahead and post this little video right here.
We'd like to expedite this process and make it easy for everyone involved. The property will be secured and will be transported to a safe location to recover life.
So, like, just so you know, every single time anyone posts pictures of this person, it's just non-stop online harassment. So I hope that you know that.
Bro, get out of my face, man, all right?
Out of your face. I'm like 3 feet away.
Get off my face.
So, that video clearly depicts Jonathon Choe filming somebody without their consent and somebody else walking up and literally telling him, not even like getting in his way or anything like that, but literally telling him like, hey, every time that you post her face, like, she gets fucking death threats out the ass, man. Leave her alone. Like, just leave people alone. But of course, that's the worst part, is that that video was reshared by Andy Ngo, and Andy Ngo loved it. And he kept specifying that this person is trans, and therefore you should go after them. So, you guys are evil and really need to knock it off. Like, seriously, just knock it off. And part of it, too, is that apparently Jonathon Choe doesn't like this person because she doesn't like him recording at protests and gets in his fucking face. And in the past, has gotten in his face and been like, you gotta get out of here. Nobody wants you here. And he thinks that that is the definition of being persecuted. Because here's the funniest thing. He shows up at the Proud Boy rally. He gets kicked out. Then they just let him march alongside and take photos. And he literally tweets out that somehow that mob was kinder to him than the black bloc in Seattle who puts umbrellas in his way. Like, really, dude, wow. So, yeah, the neo-Nazis kicked you out, and then they pretty much let you march alongside, and you're like, these guys are even better than anti-fascists because I get along with them. Well, what does that say about you, Jonathan? You lost your job like the loser you are. And that's the funniest thing, is that local journalists in the Pacific Northwest, Katie Davis Court, Jason Boyan, journalists is obviously a pejorative term, but these people are literally saying that he was fired for unbiased reporting, for trying to get people the truth. And I'm like, honestly, if he had showed up at the Proud Boy rally and taken some photos and been like, this event was held today, and he posted them, and he got fired, I'd be a little more mixed on it. But the guy fucking made a propaganda video. How in the goddamned actual fuck are you going to look at me and tell me that that is unbiased reporting? What the fuck are you on about? I mean, seriously, Jason Borean specifically, because it's so funny. I know I'm going on, but he specifically loves to target me on Twitter and be like, oh, well, Miguel's biased. And I'm like, I admit that. As a journalist, I will admit to you, I am pro-left, I'm pro-human rights, I'm anti-fascist. I will say that outright. He won't say it. He'll be like, well, I'm just independent. And no, you're not. If you're showing up at Proud Boy events and making fucking propaganda for them, you are the definition of fucking bias, dude. So, yeah. Anyway, that was the funniest part. And their event went on. I encourage people to just keep an eye on Olympia, Washington. This was the first and the only event so far where the Capital City Proud Boys had their name on it, you know? Which is not good. It's really disturbing for the fact that it was a recruitment opportunity for them, and for the fact that Jonathon Choe getting fired kind of made some national news and gets them even more attention. But fuck the Capital City Proud Boys. I would love to tell you about who they are, but I would just rather show you this fucking video.
Are you fucking kidding me, Nate?
Real! This is fucking America, man. We're drinking that causing problems. Yeah. What's your fucking deal? Get the fuck out of here. Why are you causing problems?
Yeah, this is a Proud Boy. His name's Nate Cisneros.
Hey. We're getting served drinks here. Go talk to the bartender.
I already talked to him. You just got cut off. You just got cut off.
We still got a beer, so legally you can't do shit till we finish our beer.
Yes, we can.
Yes, I am. Well, hey, if you guys want to remove us, feel free. I'm going to sit here and drink my beer.
Yeah, you're not.
Now you made a class.
I really don't care. I know. No. Yo, he just pulled a gun.
No, leave it.
Nate Cisneros just pulled a gun.
He's got a fucking gun in the bar.
Jesus Christ.
Inside.
So for those of you that don't know, we kicked them out. That specific chapter of the Proud Boys, we kicked them out of McCoy's back in July of 2021. McCoy's is a popular bar, a very good bar in Olympia, Washington. Always give them your support, unless you're a fascist, because we'll kick you out, dude. Like, seriously. So for the last little part of the video, a little bit of a description. So Nathan Cisneros, one of the Capital City Proud Boys, went on to pull his gun on the back area, the back porch of McCoy's. It turned out, like, he put it away, and then he got escorted out to the back lot where they're like, you can't be in here with a gun anyway, let alone being a Proud Boy. And they were wearing their colors, so yeah, fuck them. But basically, he brought out the gun again and proceeded to shoot the staff of McCoy's. One of them in the stomach, like multiple of them all over the fucking arms. And then he bear sprayed all of them. The gun was fake the whole time. It was a fucking BB gun. He brought a BB gun. He brought a BB handgun to try to like draw as if he's a badass, because people were like, you gotta get the fuck out. Fuck you, dude. And what a coward. And also, what a stupid move. I mean, like, seriously. Seriously. I had people turn to me And we'll just say this. I had people turn to me that night while we were out at McCoy's and had kicked them out right afterwards. And they're like, hey, like, that guy, that turned out to be a fake gun. I'm really glad I didn't respond in kind. You know what I mean? Because when somebody pulls a gun on you, here's my rule of thumb. If you're going to pull a gun on somebody, make sure it's fucking real. Because otherwise, somebody else has a one on the other end, you know, especially in America. That's the way it usually works. The left is armed. We're fucking armed. So that was hilarious. But I'm not even going to get into who these goons are. I'm just going to tell you that this is who they are. They're cowards. They get kicked out of places. Keep kicking them out. Keep an eye on them. But also keep an eye for any event you see in the future based out of Olympia with the name We the People Against Communism. Because like I said, the founders of that group are pretty much just like they're pretty much Proud Boys. One of the members is named Ryan Olsky, and she has on multiple occasions made comments being like, when speaking about the Proud Boys, right? So she obviously claims that title as a woman. It's the same thing with Angela D.M. Barry. It's like, is specifically for the fact that she has participated in multiple riots, including September 4th, 2021, where they went hunting Antifa in downtown Olympia, which the cops allowed. The cops like gave them a green light, got out of their way. We're like, why don't you just come into our town and go after our enemy because we hate Miguel too. Don't you hate him? I hate him too. I really hate Miguel. So that's the news, comrades. I'm just glad to be back to it. You know, the news hasn't left, or the news left and then it came back. I thought it wasn't going to come back. I thought it was going out for a pack of cigs like my dad. But we're back. And make sure to subscribe. So I wanted to make a little bit of an announcement, too, at the end of this. Number one, I'm thinking about, you know, let me know what you guys think. Let me fix this fucking camera. Let me know what you guys think. But I think I'm done with the YouTube show. I'm going to keep posting to YouTube, to the channel, and continue to subscribe and like and whatever the fuck other YouTube creators say. It takes so much work. That's what it is. That's how to describe it. I tried to put out an episode weekly for a while until I took my, little social media break, my little safety break. I did it for a while, like weekly, and that was fucking exhausting. I mean, it takes so much work. You guys don't know how much fucking blood, sweat, and tears I put into this, and you would just be grateful. Maybe you should be. It's all good. What I'm trying to say is that I'm actually transitioning to podcast form. Podcasts. For those of you that remember, I used to have this Antifa News podcast. Right there. Antifa. Oh my God. What the fuck? There it is. Antifa News. So I used to have the Antifa News podcast, and I noticed, like, not only is it so much more work to do a YouTube show, but I also have half the subscribers that I do compared to when I had a podcast. So I am going to podcast form, and that's just me droning on and on about how we're moving the podcast. So yeah, I'll post it soon. I'm actually probably going to make this one, once I finish it up, I'm going to try to make this one a podcast form as well, just kind of an introduction. But yeah, just look out for the news left with Miguel Allegedly is what I'm going to call it. It's going to be on Spotify very soon. But like I said, the news left with Miguel Allegedly. We're adding the with Miguel Allegedly. Because what I notice is every time I look up the news left on YouTube or Google or whatever, like, it's so many news articles that are like, left news. The news left Ukraine. The news left Palestine. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So, anyway, we'll add a little bit of a thing like that, but I hope you're looking forward to that. I hope you like podcasts. And even if you don't, I need to spend less time doing this. You know what I mean? Like, I'll record. Goodbye.